Every Wednesday, we come to you, your home, at work, wherever you are, to share some really important and relevant conversation about money, life, and everything else. So today, we actually want to do a continuation of a conversation we started a couple of weeks ago. And this conversation was about multiple streams of income. After I had that conversation, I got a call, or actually a text from a person who's here. And he said that this should be more than just one conversation because there's so much more we need to share. And I was like, you're right. Because we know we all worried about money, and knowing how to make money and how to create multiple streams of income is so important. We talked about confidence a few weeks ago, and we said that without financial means to take care of your own business, to take care of yourself and your family, usually it's really hard to build your confidence. But knowing how to leverage your skills and also, how to look for opportunities, very important. They say that luck is preparation that meets opportunity. You gotta be prepared, and you have to have the opportunity. So we believe that that's not enough. Actually, you have to be in the right place at the right time. So in order to get lucky, this is the right place. On Wednesdays, we share so much so that you can have the knowledge and the information that you need, so that when you get lucky, when you find yourself in a position to take advantage of an opportunity, you can go about doing that. I always believe that it's so important to be a thinker and a doer. It's not enough to have conversation. It's very important to do. So tonight we're gonna let you know about how to think about your situation, but also give you tangible ideas on how you can go about doing. So I have two friends with me tonight. They are thinkers and they are doers, entrepreneurs and active members of the community. And that's Curtis and Minister Jones. I would like to introduce them and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. And also after that, we'll dive into a very important conversation about multiple streams of income. How do you go about doing that? We'll start with Minister Jones. Why don't we start with you tonight? Introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and your career and how you came about saying yes to this conversation tonight.
Okay, I want to say good evening to everyone. Shalom. Thank you for the invite. I was, you asked me a couple of weeks ago, and I was on the road, and just getting back from Ghana and then back from a road trip. But I am I'm a minister. I love the Lord, but I think that just from knowing you for as long as I've known you, it's always about multiple streams of income. And so I think this is a conversation where we're in a situation right now where we need to have multiple streams of income. You and I was having a conversation earlier just about that particular thing and how it's important to be able to multiply yourself. You have more than one thing to do, because this situation, life right now, is created a thing where if you only had what you had, you don't have anything, because they can take that away. So you need more. So I'm looking forward to the conversation and being able to share some of my experiences. In the last 90 days, I've been on the road away from home for 40 of those days. And I've learned quite a few things in that time. So looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, we cannot wait to hear more from you. And definitely Curtis is the person who wanted to have an extended conversation about this. And I've had numerous conversations with Curtis. I know he cares about the community and does extensive work. Why don't you introduce yourself, Curtis? You've been on the show before, so you're not a stranger, but please introduce yourself again.
Absolutely, Gabrielle. This is Curtis Chambers. How are you, everybody? I am a financial coach. I do it as a profession, and I was doing it, even beforehand with family and friends, just giving insights and wisdom and real life application, things that I saw and would go back and share when it comes to money and finance. And I do want to take a sidebar real quick and really take my imaginary hat off to you for your platform and what you're doing. This is super important. There hasn't been a moment that's been more timely than this. And so for this conversation to continue, I definitely commend you. And I don't throw words out loosely. This is huge because there's things happening right now that are kind of behind the surface that people are not really paying attention to. But if you just look, if you just go to the supermarket, if you go to the gas pump, you'll see things that are happening around you and in your neighborhoods, you know, things that are getting put up. And a lot of the stuff that's being developed is not done with us in mind. Let's just leave it right there. But yeah, but I love helping folks and I love the conversation. I'm just so excited, you know. So I'm gonna shut up now so we can get as much content as we can.
Yeah, I just wanna add one more, just add a little bit to what you just said. You know, I'm a community person. I started the show because I see firsthand every single day what's happening in our communities and how people are being pushed out of their homes. People are being, the community is being gentrified and folks are being displaced. And I know that empowering yourself with knowledge can really make a difference. That's why we've talked about legacy. We've talked about getting involved in your community so that you know how to fight back. I believe in fighting back. And so that you know how to stand on your own 2 feet, so that you're not always at the mercy of somebody else. So I can go on and on and on. I just want to say that, you know, this conversation about multiple streams of income, like Minister Jones told you, from the day I met him, I've been talking about do not put all your eggs in one basket, i.e. a job. You need to have multiple ways to take care of yourself, either here or if you ever were to go anywhere else. Because you never know, the time might come where we have to go someplace else. So, yeah, with that being said, why don't we start with the first question? Why is it important? We've already said enough. Why is it important to have multiple streams of income? Let's start with you, Minister Jones.
Okay, I think it's important because I just came back from 20 days of being over in Ghana. And one thing that it showed me was the people in Ghana are born to do business. Different than here in America, you know, you get a job, right? But they're born to be business people. You know, I learned that you can be at the stoplight and they'll come to you and they don't want you to give them money. They don't come asking for money. They want you to buy their products. And they have multiple things that they're doing. So I watched that. But I always know, you know, from us being, you know, in contact with each other, I'm always into something new. What is the newest thing? And if I can't use it myself, how can I help somebody else with it? You know, so it becomes very important because when you limit yourself to one thing, then you're controlled by someone else. And everybody has skills. And, you know, one thing about this economy right now, it's taught us entrepreneurship is the most important thing right now, because I'm sorry, but the government has showed us they don't know how to handle money. You know, so that's what they've done, and we see it. You know, it's like we're in debt. The country's in debt, but we need to come together and, you know, work this thing out.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I concur. We the way things are working right now, I mean, you still might have to have been worried that you might get laid off or you might get fired. Last year showed us that your whole job might get laid off or your job might get fired. So, you know, I remember in the old Superman clip in the 70s, Lois Lane was falling and Superman came in and said, "I got you." And she said, "Who got you?" You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't understand the concept. Who's supporting you as you're holding me up? So you thought the job got your back. For the longest time, whenever I was in business, entrepreneurship, even network marketing, folks would always be like, "Oh no, I'm sticking to the security net of this job." Well, who has the job? Who's the job security net? You know, and so when that dries up, you're out of luck. You need to have multiple streams for this very reason. There's going to be a time where some things are going to slow up, and it doesn't have to be a black swan event like COVID or what have you. Just in general, you know, things happen. So you have to have other ways so that you don't have to stress, because these things are interconnected. When you don't have enough money to do what you need to do, when your cash flow poor or there's a deficit, then you have to come with the excuses to someone as to why you can't get life insurance. And then you have to go put the hat out to other people to help you get buried. And that's going to be a trickle effect, you know, spiritually, emotionally, physically. These things are all tied in together, all because, you know, there's other things that you could have done to make sure you're good. I mean, we're not talking about yachts and ski boats. We're talking about enough to do what you need to do so you can eat healthy, so that you can take trips, so that you can de-stress, so that you can buy life insurance, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And this show is for everyone because it's being done in English. So if you're an English speaker, you can hear and listen and adhere if you so choose. But I know we are all here people of color, right? So knowing that we usually are the first to the last to get hired and the first to be let go. So therefore, if you are in this category of people, you have to do what you need to do. You cannot depend because, you know, we have a tsunami of issues happening right now in this country. Typically when it rains, it pours on folks like us. So it's very important that you really look at your skills. We talked about the fact that, you know, I was saying to someone, you know, ageism is one of the factors that as you get older, you know, they don't want you in corporate America anymore if you haven't established certain, you know, status. So therefore, if you have been working on your own business, you'll have an opportunity to have peace of mind. And you talk about the different aspect of how a lack of resources can affect you. And we've talked about the comprehensive understanding of knowing that your health, your spiritual, physical, intellectual health, all of them can be impacted because you are struggling financially. We know this too well. So therefore, we would like to say, you know, how should someone go about creating and pursuing multiple streams of income? How do you do that? We talked about the skills, but you know, how do you go about it? Because that was the topic for tonight. You know, how do you go about doing that?
There's multiple
Minister
ways.
Joe, go ahead, Curtis. Curtis.
I was just gonna say there's many ways. I mean, one thing I loved about this time when we were put on timeout, because that's what it was last year when things were shut down, you had chances to read, you had chances to watch more YouTube University, as I call it, and you can learn things. And you could also start inward and say, what am I passionate about? What are some of the things that I love to do? What are my passion points or pain points or what have you? And so you have to use ingenuity. I remember last year hearing of certain people that when things were shut down, as far as the gym goes, someone had his own, you know, gym or what have you, and he would either drop things off to you and let you rent his benches or, you know, things like dumbbells, you know, and then wipe it down and then go to the next person. He was using his brain, you know, he could you're renting the gym, you know, or coming to his garage and working on his garage for an hour. So he had it two ways. I could bring the equipment to you and you pay me more for that, or you can come work out here and I spray it down for the next person. So using ingenuity is something. I can't tell you just do this business. I'm here to promote a network marketing company or anything like that. You can always find something.
Yeah, you can always find something if you're looking.
Yes.
Because the opportunities are everywhere, but you have to be looking. We were talking about that, Minister Jones, like so many people are stuck in their homes. Even with COVID-19, you can be on a Facebook or like on a social media or the Zoom that we are on right now. There's so many different seminars and free educational seminars that are happening, but some folks, instead of taking advantage of that so that they can expand their horizons and expand their mind and get access to more additional resources, they're busy on flipping through the channel. So how do you go about creating and pursuing multiple streams of income, Minister Jones?
Well, one of the things that Brother Curtis was just speaking on is, you know, it's creating, using your creative mind, you know, and sometimes we're forced to do that. And this is a situation where what's been created is a level playing field. So this COVID-19 has affected everyone. So now you're gonna have to go deep into yourself to find out what it is that you do. And I said this a while ago, you know, just in the sense that there are things that we have to do, and the country is based on entrepreneurs right now. You know, people, you know, doing their own business. Like I said, when I went to Ghana, they make it that Ghana is so poor. Ghana, it's not that Ghana is poor, it's that Ghana, just like a lot of other countries, don't have access to exporting. That's controlled by a certain group of people. But where I was, there was no one going hungry. And there was people creating jobs. Like, for example, a friend had, one of the guys I was there with, he lost his cord to his iPhone. An iPhone is one of those where you don't just get any old cord to go to, right? Mm-hmm. So a young man came and he had a board full of eyeglasses, right? That's what he was selling. So my friend said to him, he said, I don't need eyeglasses. I need a cord for this iPhone. Well, the young man left and he came back with about 5 or 6 different iPhone cords. So that was just another part of the business. And the thing of it is this, right? They didn't mind working together. So if he didn't sell it, he knew who to go to get it and bring it back. And that's how they do business. That's what we have to learn how to do with multiple streams of income. We have to learn how to stop being selfish and helping each other out. If you have a business, I need to help you so that you can do well. And then when I need something, you can help me out. But we get to this point where we become so selfish, and the crab in the barrel. I mean, everybody talks about it, but there's a reality. It's a crab. The next one doesn't want you to do well, right? And I don't want to get on a race thing, but a reality is this: we have to start doing something together, or we go back into where we were before.
All right. Go ahead, Curtis.
I just wanted to share on top of what Minister Jones was saying is that, the gentleman that he alluded to in his example or his story found a void in the market. When you find a void or a deficit and you feel that, there's money to be made. I noticed that, the car rental business was getting exorbitant and it was just becoming, price exclusive or what have you to certain people. And so I saw where there's these other platforms, just like how there's Airbnb for hotels, which replaced the hotel model. There were car sharing platforms where you would, not you're the driver, not Uber, where you're letting your car be rented. So since I have 2 vehicles, one went on that platform. And as we're speaking literally right now, my car is making me money, because if you're not making money when you're not the one doing an action, then you're not really making any money. So if you don't have something passively coming in, passively meaning you're not the one to act. Uber is you actively doing it. You're going out there, hey, at least you control your time. But if you're renting your car out and that car is making me money as I speak to you and as I sleep, now you can, start changing the game up or what have you. So this is what you want to do there. Find a void. That wasn't my passion point. That was just something me saying, oh, there's a void in the market. Let me fill it. And it's done well for me over these last 2 years.
Yeah, so definitely looking for opportunities and networking, right? And you mentioned the Uber thing. A couple of weeks ago when we had this conversation, one of the ladies who were on the show said that we're not talking about multiple jobs. We're talking about multiple streams of income. Passive income is the way to go. But you cannot have one without the other in order for you to start. So my next question, what are some of the easiest ways, you just mentioned it, to start a second or third stream of income for someone who has a job right now? You have a job and you're not looking for multiple jobs, because we know multiple jobs not gonna get you there. You're gonna get stressed. We don't want you to kill yourself trying to make money, because all you're gonna do is accumulate enough money to pay for healthcare. We don't want that. We want you to be very strategic about how to go build a networking system where you can learn and do, because we're talking about the thinkers, the learners, and the doers, right? So what are some of the easiest ways? You just mentioned that. I never thought about this. My car sometimes is sitting out here for weeks.
But you said yourself, you said network, right? Because Pastor said network as well. And so if we're going to be on this platform, the world seemed like it ended 2 days ago. Everybody, oh my God, Facebook went down. Well, if you're going to be that attached to it, use it. I see people doing their makeup, you know, and they'll do video tutorials. Great, you're branding yourself. So your people are starting to get to know you, and people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So you start to use the social media, not for the silly dances, nothing wrong with that. But when you don't have the light, no one's going to see your dances. So you got to keep the lights on, right? So let's go ahead and dance once in a while. But let's go ahead and do. I like to get silly, Pastor. So let's do some videos on if this is your jam with makeup or doing crafts. My wife does the door ornaments and things like that. So you can start right there. Those materials are cheap at the dollar stores and the Michaels and things of that nature. And if you have a skill in that area, or it could be some of your old things that you want to get rid of, you can sell those on, there's tons of those posh, those Etsy's type things where you can start fairly cheap. I'm just trying to come up with the ideas, because some people might say, I don't have a second car. That's a privileged position for you to say you have another car that you can just put out there like that. But these things that I'm talking about, a few bucks at the Michaels and crafts, or selling some of your old stuff anyway that's hoarding in your house, start selling those that are good quality things, and you can start your business like that and go. There's so many other areas. I'm giving you so much game. I hope they're scooping it up.
Yeah. You talked about some of the selfish ideas, like most people, they don't want to get involved with someone who's already doing it because they feel in a certain way about that person's progress. But why is it important, Mr. Jones, to actually get together, like that networking, to learn from other people who are already doing it? Because if you're sitting at home and saying like, well, I'm not going to support her show, I'm not going to support her, her seminar, I'm not going to support this, guess what? You don't get to learn. So why is it important to go out and support other people so that you can become equipped?
So that's how we grow. So it's going to cost you some money to do this, right? And people be saying, I don't have money to do that, right? But I watch people do a lot of things that they pay a lot of money for. But when they talk about business, now, for example, I went to Ghana, and I went there for multiple reasoning. I got more than I expected. And one of the things that I got is this. I met a cab driver. So when you go to Africa, now in certain places, especially Ghana, they treat you like a long lost relative, right? So you have conversations. We met a cab driver. And this cab driver, we became friends. We started talking. He started sharing about the business that he used to do. So before the COVID came up, he had a business that he was doing with someone for exporting products. So we started talking about it, and that a light went on in my head, right? So he said to me, what is it that I said, well, how come you don't do it anymore? So he shared it with me. I said, you're thinking about starting it up again? He goes, yeah. So I said, well, I'm going to be leaving in a few days, but let's talk about that. So what we did was I found some products that I would like to sell. And so one of them is shea butter, right? So I get a direct shipment of shea butter from him, also kente cloth, right? And so he showed me a bunch of them, and their money is 6-to-1 right now, with the cedis, compared to American dollar. And so we had some problems with the bank. You had to transfer money, and so I got some friends that are going over there on the 28th. So I'm going to send the money with them, and they're going to pick it up. He's going to pick it up from them. And when he does that, he's going to send me the products, right? So I'm sending him a certain amount of money. He's showing me all the products, what I can get for that amount of money. So for example, 100 of our dollars is worth almost 600 of theirs. So he's going to send the product here, and I can buy a 32-ounce bottle of shea butter, right? I paid $16 for it. You pay $20 for 2 ounces over here. You know what I mean? So it's about, what are you willing to spend? Because if you don't spend the money and go visit different places, you won't find out what someone else is doing.
Correct.
So once that happens, I have access, direct access, and I go to different stores and stuff, people are looking for materials. I got some people looking for material. I can sell them the material, at a reasonable price, not to break away anything. I'm not looking to be a millionaire, but this is how somebody that's going into business, I can, get them stuff that's going to cost them a lot more to get, because I have direct contact too.
Definitely, the key is to get involved. That's why we talked about, several months ago, we talked about like how to get involved in even your own community, because you cannot see a need. You cannot see a gap that you need to fill if you're not in the community, if you're not part of the community, if you're not out there. You talked about, you just mentioned like folks should go overseas or even like explore, right? But some people won't even turn on a program like this to watch it. So while they're in bed, they could watch something like that and learn something new. And that's not the only program that's doing it, multiple other programs. I followed a lot of people. And when I'm home, I take the opportunity to listen to other ideas, because I want to learn. The more you learn, the more confident you become, and the more you are able to do, because you become a thinker, and thinkers are usually doers. Those who, think and grow rich. You think and grow rich. Now, we're not saying like Curtis said, we're not telling you to become multimillionaires. Hey, if that's your goal, why not? However, we see it in our community, right? In our communities right here in Boston or over everywhere else. Folks who are struggling to pay for their basic needs, right? And they come into you, Curtis, as a financial coach. They come to me and I see the stories. Either they're like doing the working years right now and they're struggling to pay, or some folks who are now on Social Security or fixed income and they're struggling to pay for their everyday expenses. If you are in your 20s, 30s, and you have a 9-to-5, great, but find yourself something else to do so that you can build an asset that can help you retire comfortably. I was saying to Minister Jones, I said, Mr. Jones, you just came back from 40 days of traveling. How have you been able to do that? So Curtis, as a coach, what type of ideas, like how do you encourage your clients or your members, if that's what you call them, to get ready? And how do you get ready if you don't have enough income to spend today and to save for later?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a conundrum. And the thing about it is, I don't discourage them from work. I know that the job has no safety net, but instead of, coming as an adversarial piece, you wrap your arms around them and say, hey, you have a job, awesome. If you love what you do or like what you do, it's great. If you get a business, like all those things that we just talked about, the export business, the this, the that, the rental, now you can keep more of your W-2 job money because you're a business owner. So you start encouraging people to learn about the tax laws. That's why I say YouTube University, and people that you can subscribe to. You can either set your Gmail to get certain alerts and give you newspaper clippings or articles that come to you in that way, if you're a reader, or if you want to listen, like you said, feeding the baby, doing dishes, do YouTube. And it's not just any Yahoo on YouTube. I'm just saying, take some information, not that it's gospel, but it'll let you ask other questions like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Because when you have a job with a business, it can make your $80,000 salary look like you only made $20,000, $30,000 because of all your deductions or what have you, if that's the way you want to go. Some people don't, because they want to get a home, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but the bottom line is the world is your oyster, because now you have more laws in your favor. When you're only an employee, you have 2 or 3 things that can get you, and that's it. And so you want to have a business. You want to be able to say, now I have some more disposable income so that I can, because Pastor talked about the equal playing field. Think about things like cryptocurrency. Yes, some of it is a crapshoot. Some of it may be a legitimate investment, but at least I know I'm using my disposable income because I have other multiple streams of income. My basics are already met. So now I can take $100, let's just say, and give it a try. Because there's a lot of things that I could pull up for you all that if you just looked 1 year ago, that $100 would either be 180 or 1,080, and in some instances, 10,080. Even the 180 is great, because that's better than what it would have been in my bank account, because that is like an ice cube. The money, when you start to learn how money is, the US dollar, it's a melting ice cube, but people don't understand how money works. So I got to be able to get you with the basics first. realizing that you're in a sinking ship when you're only dealing with these dollars. You scrapping and fighting for a job. I don't care if it's $100,000 a year. That doesn't mean anything to me, because that $100,000 is getting weaker and weaker by the day. But you have to know those things first.
Definitely, you gotta know.
Hey, Brother Curtis, for a minute, I always listen to words and things that people say. He mentioned being a financial coach, right?
Right.
He wouldn't have been studying with Dave Ramsey.
I definitely have listened. I didn't get my certification through Dave Ramsey, and I know he has a coaching program, but
Right.
I definitely, through YouTube with him, and before even YouTube, been knowing about a lot of his principles way back when. I deviate in some areas because sometimes he doesn't want you to have any credit, and I'm not, if you're responsible and you can really stay on top of it, you can leverage credit. So I get why he's saying what he says. But for me, if you can get on top of it. So yeah, there's some places where we definitely are in lockstep, and then some places where I'm like, yeah, I use credit. He loathes it like the devil's spawn. So, but yeah, definitely.
No, because I went through him to be a coach. So
yeah, there are endless opportunities out there.
Yeah.
I remember we met Minister Jones at a local church where I was teaching a class called God, Money, and You. I went to the church as a member. I wanted to share my skills and my knowledge with the church family. And unfortunately, not too many people would show up because they had other priorities. Some of it is legit, others were just like not really realizing what was in it for them. The key is to realizing what's in it for you, is to realize what's in it for you. We are here sharing, we are encouraging you to come out, because the person you see in front of you here has come out. I've come out and I've gone all over the place, if not the world, to learn so that I can give back. And that's why I always joke sometimes. I say those who are afraid usually are those who haven't come out enough. If you don't come out enough, you're always going to have fear. Am I going to be able to pay for my rent? Am I going to be able to fight for my community? Am I going to be able to stay in my community? There's going to be a number of things that you're going to be afraid of. But if you come out and you learn from Curtis, you learn from Minister Jones, you learn from a program like this, Let's Talk Money with Friends was an inspiration, because I know there are resources here and there are so much that can be shared with you. We would encourage you to come out. We had 30 minutes to share. I don't know if you gentlemen have anything else that you would like to add, but this is all I wanted to say tonight. Multiple streams of income. A job will never give you what you want. A job is not going to be enough. And going back to what you said, Curtis, who has the jobs back? Because look at what happened with COVID-19, right? You lose your job, you didn't even lose it, the entire company shut down. I know people who lost their restaurants, folks who lost, everything. So you must work on your own skills and your own business so that you can leave a legacy. In order for you to become comfortable, you have to do something. Be a thinker and a doer. Start doing it today, because the time is always now, in my opinion. Anything else, or we can say goodbye?
I think you put a nice bow on that. I love it.
Yeah, I would like, I don't know if Brother Curtis had something he wanted to share. Did you want something to share right now?
No, I'm commending her. I said, I love how she brought that together, and I was turning it over to you.
The time is always now. So let's go after it. Let's go after it, right?
Right. So, I mean, I wanted to share something real quick. You remember when when Israel was in captivity, right?
Correct.
And they had to rebuild the wall, right? And so they were given money to go back out and do that, right? So you had Ezra and you had Nehemiah, right? Ezra was more of the one who was the word and keeping them spiritually sound, right? So Nehemiah was the worker. Nehemiah was the one who was on the wall, right? Encouraging the people to don't give up. Yeah, you might have to have a weapon in one hand, but you got a tool in the other hand to help build. And I just think that, and I always commend you, because you're part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm grateful to you for that, but we have to be encouragers. You and I was talking about this earlier. When you know your history, you know your greatness. We have allowed someone else to teach us our history for so long that we become dependent on them, not knowing who we are. On my journey, I've learned who I am, right? So I'm not bound by, what someone else tells me that I am, because I know who I am. And I know, and we have to use this platform to share with people and encourage them on the fact that, we're not what someone told us we are. We're what God has told us what we are, and he tells us what we are, and we have to live like we believe it. I believe what he says. Let God be true and every man be a liar. That's what I always say. And that's in the scriptures. So now we have to look at this platform here. And I commend you also, because rejection is one of those things that you have to fight your way through it, right? Because you get the naysayers and you get the jealous and you get all the other stuff, all the problems and everything. And I got to give it to you. You stand firm with this thing, because I know that I can always find you somewhere doing what you do. And so, I'll give you your props, on that. But also you allow me to be on this platform, and so I'd like to say this. I have some information that for whoever's watching right now, that if they want the information about, income and a whole bunch of different things like that, right? They can contact you, because I trust you. And I don't just take anybody in, right? And they can come through you, and you can give them my information, because I know that you will know the people that, that you deal with. Because I think that we're in a critical situation right now. We have to use critical thinking and reasoning, right? And know that we have skills that are dormant. And it takes a situation like this to bring them out. I give props to Brother Curtis too, because he is doing a work. And I know for him to be on your show, that he's got to be doing something, because you don't just have just anybody on there, right? Yeah. So he's got to be doing something. And I just think that we need to come together. I want us to do more things together. Tomorrow I have a meeting. I've been invited to a meeting in Mattapan at Chase Bank in Mattapan. There's a meeting they have. I was invited to that by one of my investor friends, right? So you make contacts like that, because I love our people. I do. We can be some knuckleheads, but I love our people, more than anything. And what can we do to help our people out of this situation,
I tell you, that's why I appreciate you, Minister Jones, and I appreciate you, Curtis, because of your compassion and your love for the people, all people, but especially our people, because we need it the most. So I would just like to say again, go out and get it. If you need help, call us. We are here for you. Email us, share this video here, this program here, like it and make a comment, because when you do, it's gonna help us, but I can guarantee you it's gonna help you more. Thank you so much for your time. Have a blessed night.